And hello everyone, Ken here, aka ImmortanG, and welcome to another iRacing video. In this one, we're going to cover the 2025 Season 1 Patch 2 release notes. So let's get into it. Alright, here folks is just a quick rundown of what is covered in the patch notes. We have slight change to the anti-cheat, a lucky dog fix, AI driver improvements, some minor graphic improvements, and some various car and track improvements. And this last one, which is not actually listed in the patch notes, but which you can find on the forums, is that the BoP adjustments to the Acura GTP are live. So let's go take a look at those patch notes in a little bit more detail here. Okay, and to start off, we'll cover the anti-cheat changes. And all this change really involves is a renaming and relocating in the iRacing file structure of the antiquated version of Easy Anti-Cheat, which has been replaced to the Epic Game Easy Anti-Cheat version. And then in the iRacing Updater, you will now be asked if you want to uninstall the old derivation of the Easy Anti-Cheat. So there's that. Then we move on to the change in race control, which involves fixing an issue with the lucky dog driver, who could be incorrectly forced to give up a spot to lapped cars, or spots to lapped cars after a delayed green. And we now make sure that the EOL penalty isn't applied again when entering the 2 to green state a second time. Next up, minor change to AI racing. AI drivers have improved their ability to recover from crashes or going off course during parade laps. Nice little change there, I guess. Then for the graphics, the MIP map tossing algorithm has been updated, fixed compatibility issue with OpenXR runtime states, and fixed an issue for users with 9th and 10th gen Intel CPUs running on Windows 10 who are receiving random simulator crashes. Now for the cars, so for the GTP damage model change, the reduction in the friction on plank hulls to reduce grounding and snagging. The NASCAR Cup Series Gen 7 drafting configurations for running at super speedways has been updated. For the Dallara P217, another change to the damage model. Some material properties have been tuned to reduce sparks from ground contact. In dirt mini stocks, again, damage model change, hyperextension limits have been updated. And for dirt sprint car, iRacing setups have been updated to suit longer race lengths. For the Ferrari 499P, again, to the damage model, some parameters for the vehicle plank hulls have been adjusted slightly to reduce friction, prevent grounding snags on curbs, and reduce bouncing as well. The Ligier LS P320 fixed an issue with some incorrect areas of windshield reflections. For the Lotus 79 damage model change, some material properties of side pod hulls have been updated to reduce sparks. On the McLaren 720 GT3 Evo, a slight increase to the brake limit of the rear panel. Hopefully the rear panels won't be popping off quite as much. Then on a NASCAR wheel and tour modified, iRacing setups have been updated. And for the SCCA Spec Ford Racer, the damage model raised the brake damage threshold for the rear wheels and adjusted the bodywork detachment properties to prevent bodywork from bouncing. And two more here on the car front. We have the Super Dirt Late model. iRacing setups have been updated to suit longer race lengths. And then for the Super Late model itself, iRacing setups have been updated. Onto the tracks at Manicours, added a slowdown to prevent racers from using the pit exit to cut turn 1. On Huset Speedway, updated the track parameter initializations, which dries and roughs up the apron, making it less tempting to drive on, and fixes an issue where loose dirt was missing from track initialization. Kevin Hardwick's Kern Raceway, time penalties have been adjusted for race attempting to gain time below the yellow hose. This is on dirt mini oval variation. And on Misano, on the Grand Prix and Grand Prix 2000 configurations, a slowdown penalty for straight lining turns 1 through 2 complex through the gravel has been increased. On Silverstone Circuit, on the international config, added a slowdown to prevent racers from using the runoff in the final corner for extra speed at the start of qualifying. And a couple more here. Sonoma Raceway fixed an issue where the race servers could crash if an event at this track using short pace laps and rolling starts included more than 60 participants. Very specific, but interesting. Then at VIR, on the Grand Course and Full Course configs, added a slowdown to prevent racers from buzzing Barney's cousin in the South Course pit lane. So no more tower flybys, folks. Then on a Legacy Silverstone Circuit 2008, on the Grand Prix, Historic Grand Prix, and Southern configurations, adjusted slowdown penalties at Club Corner. So those are the listed patch notes, but the most interesting thing out of the patch is not listed on the notes, but is on this thread that was created way back on April 12th, 2024, titled GTP BoP, aka Acura Cup, by Tom here, questioning the BoPs in the GTP category. Just a few days later, Greg West did post this back in April, saying, "We've been watching this closely along with working in the background on the GTP class. I'd anticipate some updates with our next season release." Well, then we jump ahead to page 2 here, and on February 3rd, just yesterday, we see Greg West reply, "Hello everyone. With this week's changeover, we have adjusted the GTP BoP slightly. The Acura will see a 1.5% reduction in power and an additional 6 kilograms in weight added to it. This change has been applied to all series in which the GTPs race. Thanks." Well, it's good to see iRacing finally get around to those BoP changes in the GTP class here. It seemed to be highly needed. Took them almost a year, but at least they got there, right? But do let me know in the comments down below if you do race in this series, how this BoP adjustment is affecting you, and are you seeing any changes into how competitive the Acura is with relation to the other cars in the class. And that is going to bring me to our final piece of news here. It's nothing too big, but it is a nice thing to see progress on, that iRacing has launched the site for NASCAR 25, which is going to be the console game being developed exclusively by iRacing for NASCAR on the consoles. And it's going to be coming in fall of 2025, as it says on our splash screen. Any other news out of this? I guess it's been known, but good to see it officially listed here that they're going to have 4 different series included in the console version. A NASCAR Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, and surprisingly, the ARCA Menard Series as well. So it's cool to see that iRacing is progressing on this NASCAR game for the consoles, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't screw it up and we get ourselves a good NASCAR game again on the console front. But that's going to be it for this video, folks. I hope you got some information out of it that you might have missed. And in the meantime, go check out one of my other most recent videos up here in the left-hand corner. And until then, safe racing, folks.